After calling himself a pro, Fox News' Chris Wallace blames President Trump for the debate meltdown. The Associated Press cautions against using the word riot. Plus, Kayleigh McEnany goes through her most hostile press conference yet. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. Our lead story was Chris Wallace, but we've got some breaking news. I just want to go over that really quick because about 10 o'clock last night, President Trump got on Twitter. He tweeted this about White House advisor Hope Hicks. Hope Hicks, who has been working so hard without even taking a small break, has just tested positive for COVID-19. Terrible. The First Lady and I are waiting for our test results. In the meantime, we'll begin our quarantine process. All right, so then around midnight this morning, a little before, President Trump followed up and tweeted this. Tonight, the First Lady and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. So that's the breaking news. President has coronavirus. First Lady has coronavirus. There's others near him. They're tested all the time, folks. Right now, Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, negative. Vice President, negative. It's Hope Hicks was the first one that they saw, tested president. He has it, and so we'll watch the recovery. We'll watch as he gets back on his feet. In the meantime, events are canceled. It really kind of throws into question the next debate, which is scheduled for October 15th, because they're currently going through a 15-day quarantine process. We'll see if it actually takes that long, but it'll be interesting to watch his recovery, getting himself and the country going. We'll keep an eye on it. So next, let's talk about our lead story, and that's Chris Wallace, because I covered the debate on Wednesday, Tuesday night's debate, went over it on Wednesday, did the recap, did the grades. So this isn't that, because we have the grades, and the worst grade was Chris Wallace. F double minus, double secret probation type of grade. Terrible. Well, guess what? Now Chris Wallace is talking to the media. He's out there giving interviews. The first interview he gave was to the New York Times, of course, and here's part of it. In his first interview since the chaotic and often incoherent spectacle in which a pugilistic Mr. Trump relentlessly interrupted opponent and moderator alike, Mr. Wallace conceded that he had been slow to recognize that the president was not going to cease flouting the debate's rules. I've read some of the reviews. I know what people think. Well, gee, I didn't jump in soon enough, Mr. Wallace said, his voice betraying some hoarseness from the previous night's proceedings. I guess I didn't realize, and there was no way you could, hindsight being 2020, that this was going to be the president's strategy, not just for the beginning of the debate, but the entire debate. So, it was the president not following the rules. Okay, what about the moderator not following the rules? What about the moderator interrupting Trump? As the moderator says, don't interrupt, he would jump into President Trump's monologues and interrupt him. What about engaging in debate with the president? It's unreal, folks. And here's more of the interview. Recalling his thoughts as he sat on stage in the Cleveland Hall with tens of millions of Americans watching live, Mr. Wallace said, "I'm a pro. I've never been through anything like this." Asked directly if Mr. Trump had derailed the debate, Mr. Wallace replied, "Well, he certainly didn't help." Care to elaborate? No, Mr. Wallace said. To quote the president, "It is what it is." It is what it is because Wallace is a pro. Give me a break, folks. That was the most unprofessional display of debate moderation I've ever seen. So then Chris Wallace followed up by going on Fox News. He talked to Bill Hemmer, and here's what Wallace said.
You know, we began the first segment on the Supreme Court. They each got their 2 minutes, and they both obeyed in that particular case. Then Biden started to answer a question, and the president started interrupting him.
All right, first of all, that's simply not true. That is not true what Wallace said. If you watch the debate, just go watch it. You'll see that President Trump started out, spoke for 2 minutes, uninterrupted. Then Joe Biden spoke, 2 minutes, uninterrupted. Then President Trump started his rebuttal. It was Joe Biden who jumped in and started interrupting. Joe Biden did that. Then Chris Wallace jumped in. He interrupted, and he cleared the field and gave Joe Biden the floor to speak. President Trump was speaking, but Wallace jumped in, stopped everything, and turned it over to Biden. It's unreal. That's what actually happened, despite what Wallace was saying. And here's more.
The president interrupted either Biden's answers or my questions a total of 145 times, which is way more than a minute. And he bears the primary responsibility for what happened.
All right, give me a break. I mean, how many times would you interrupt if you had to do a 2-on-1 debate? If you had to work to get your point across, because not only was your opponent coming at you, but the moderator is too, interrupting you, challenging you, debating you, and not doing that for the other side. Then Wallace goes into the time and care and preparation he did to make this debate so special. And here's Wallace.
Literally hundreds of man hours and woman hours between me and my researcher went in to try to prepare a serious, substantive debate on so many issues. Biden's tax and spending plans, Trump's climate and environmental policies. You know, I was really hoping for the debate that I think America wanted to see, which was a serious exchange of views.
Yeah, right. Serious issues. I guess that's why in all of his preparation, Wallace decided to ask President Trump about white supremacy. The president has answered this question over and over and over again. And we'll get to some of the direct comments in just a little bit in the next segment. He's been asked it. He's answered it. But Wallace thought that was a serious question, as if that's the issue on everyone's mind. Then Wallace adds this to cap off this hours of preparation.
And you know, I felt like I had gotten together all of the ingredients. I had baked this beautiful, delicious cake. And then, frankly, the president put his foot in it.
Wow. Chris, the pro Wallace, just had his cake stepped on by big, bad, mean President Trump. Oh, my gosh. And then here's one last exchange between Hemmer and Wallace.
The president said at one point it's 2-on-1. He felt like he was debating you and Joe Biden. Others have suggested that Joe Biden didn't answer a lot of the questions that are in that notebook right there about the filibuster and the Supreme Court. Have you gone back to look at Tuesday night?
He answered the question.
All right, that's just wrong. Joe Biden did not answer questions on whether he supported packing the Supreme Court or ending the Senate filibuster. In fact, he refused to answer the question. He said, "I will not answer that question," and Wallace did not push him on it. So Wallace's comment right there is 100% wrong. All right, folks. Next, let's talk about the Associated Press and riots. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. We're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day. We just hit 93,000 last night. We can do this with your help. All right. So if you didn't think journalism was dead, Chris Wallace is a great example. But there's more. I'm not done. There's more. We've got the Associated Press thinking that they need to issue new guidelines on how reporters cover left-wing violence like riots and looting. So Bronson Stocking over at Town Hall wrote a great column about this, looking at the AP's new guidelines, and here's part of it. The AP issued new guidance on Wednesday telling journalists to avoid using the word riot when covering left-wing events and refrain from reporting on property destruction because, according to the AP, such reporting has been used in the past as a way to stigmatize protests against lynching and racial injustice. The AP dictates that unrest should be used instead of the word riot because it's less emotional. The AP then points out how great the words protest and demonstration are because both words can technically refer to violent and peaceful gatherings alike and help gloss over the violence. Yep, journalism is dead. The left just wants to push a narrative. They want to downplay the violence, or, as the Democrats did the entire summer, even through their Democrat National Convention, is ignore the violence. Simply flat out ignore what's going on in these cities run by Democrats and violence led by Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and far left groups. That's what they want to do. So let's look at what the AP actually said. We'll put some tweets up. Here are the words from the Associated Press. New guidance on AP style book online. Use care in deciding which term best applies. A riot is a wild or violent disturbance of the peace involving a group of people. The term riot suggests uncontrolled chaos and pandemonium. Focus on rioting and property destruction rather than underlying grievance has been used in the past to stigmatize broad swaths of people protesting against lynching, police brutality, or for racial injustice, going back to urban uprisings in the 1960s. Oh my gosh. So, don't go using riots because that's too extreme. It could be taken the wrong way. There's calmer, gentler words to use, and if you use it, it takes away from the underlying grievance that's out there. So what the left, and in particular the Associated Press, is trying to say is they're trying to put the grievance, the beef that people have, on par with the actual violence. Well, guess what? It's not the idea or the grievance that is bashing you over the head with a baseball bat. It's not the grievance that is burning your business to the ground. It's the violence. It's the actual rioting. Oh my gosh, this is like Joe Biden saying Antifa is an idea, not an organization. That's what the AP is saying. And here's more. Unrest is a vaguer, milder, less emotional term for a condition of angry discontent and protest verging on revolt. Oh my gosh, folks, give me a break. Again, journalism is dead. The AP is pushing this technique, these wordsmithing, to downplay what's going on so people don't think it's so bad in case they don't turn on the TV and see actual buildings burning, like CNN, the reporter saying a largely peaceful protest as property is being burned to the ground right behind him. That's not a peaceful protest. All right, so now let's cover yesterday's White House press briefing, because I don't know if you saw it, but to me, this one was the most hostile, most unprofessional one yet. I guess they're taking the lead from Chris Wallace being unprofessional, and just the media were out of control. So with everything going on, you know what they wanted to focus on when questions were thrown open? The white supremacy comment. President has addressed this over and over again, yet they want to bring it up at the press conference, saying, can he say right now that he denounces white supremacy, as if this time will be any different or any better than the other times when he has done it. CBS's reporter Paula Reed kept hammering McEnany on it, being unprofessional, speaking over her, and here's that exchange when asked about white supremacy.
I think there's no stronger signal that you can send than advocating for the execution of a white supremacist the first time there's been a federal execution in 17 years. He's been unmistakable.
It's different than actually doing it.
He's continually condemned it, and it is really...
The record on this, to go to John's question, is mixed. He has condemned it, he has equivocated at times, he said he didn't want to acknowledge it or address it. His record is very mixed on this issue.
His record is not mixed in the slightest.
And friends, that was just the start. These reporters have no interest at all in asking questions and getting information, using that information to put a story together on the events of the day. They just want to get their talking point out there, their statement out there, their disagreement, their beef, their left-wing talking point out there so that they can go home or get with their colleagues and say, hey, did you see that? Who won today? Which one of us scored the best talking point or left-wing zinger? They don't care about actually doing their job. And here's more of the exchange.
His record is mixed. He has not been
praised.
consistent on the issue of white supremacy. So I'm asking you, what has this White House done to combat what the FBI says is one of the deadliest threats in this country?
We're not having a debate on a cable news network.
You're
right now, you need to
saying
let
that
me
he
finish.
condemns it. I have his record right here. It's
You need
mixed.
to let me finish.
His record
It's
is mixed.
quite funny that the media goes haywire about interrupting in debates and then chooses to pursue that very same tactic themselves. This is a White House briefing. You ask a question and you give me time to answer.
And friends, that wasn't just one reporter. Over and over again, the level of disrespect and unprofessionalism was sky high. Even Fox News' John Roberts, he led off asking about white supremacy and just kept going on and on with Kayleigh McEnany as she listed all the times the president has actually denounced it.
Yesterday, he was point blank asked, do you denounce white supremacy? And he said, I've always denounced any form of that. I can go back and read for you in August 2019, in one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. In August of 2017, racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups. I have an entire list of these quotes that I can go through with you.
Oh my gosh. So you know what happened after that? After that list, you know what happened next? John Roberts said, can you denounce white supremacy here? After all of that, he asks again, can you denounce it now? Like if now is the significant special time and the others didn't matter. Give me a break. And again, this is just a distraction, folks. This has not been the issue. The issue of all this violence has nothing to do with white supremacy. It's the media that are elevating it, wanting the president to respond and talk about it as much as Black Lives Matter and Antifa, so he can put that on par, as to make it look like the violence that's been going on all summer long is balanced out when we know it's not. We know that is absolutely not true. But this left-wing media, this unprofessional attitude, is a perfect segue for Friday to ask, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call, like, I don't know, a relaxed brain.
All right, here we go, folks. Uncle Ben's has officially changed. According to People magazine, they have a new look and a new name, and here's the story. The rice brand, which came under scrutiny in June for using racially insensitive stereotypes, has officially rebranded to Ben's Original. Along with dropping Uncle from the name, the portrait of a black man has also been removed from the packaging. Over the last several weeks, we have listened to thousands of consumers, our own associates, and other stakeholders from around the world, said Fiona Dawson, Global President, Mars Food, Multi-Sales, and Global Customers, in a press release. We understand the inequities that were associated with the name and face of the previous brand, and as we announced in June, we have committed to change. Oh my gosh. So, in case you didn't get all of that, here's a lesson in Wokeness 101. One is that I guess having a black man as the face of a global food brand is racist. We got to get rid of him. We got to get rid of the black man on the box of this item that is sold around the world. Then, apparently, Uncle is racist. Ben is okay, but Uncle is racist. It's got to go. Promoting a black man on our packaging, that's got to go. So next, unreal. I can't believe it. So next, here's some classic reporting from the Babylon Bee. In case you're wondering where Chris Wallace's true allegiances are, here's the report. Chris Wallace's impartiality questioned due to his giant foam finger reading Biden 2020. I can't believe I didn't notice that during the debate, but that's exactly what it felt like, what it sounded like, what we witnessed. He probably had it behind his back or something. And then there's this one from the Bee, which sums up left-wing lunacy, liberal logic perfectly. State with no electricity orders everyone to drive cars that run on electricity. What can you say about that? That is California. They have rolling blackouts all the time. They can't power their cities. They have no electricity, yet he wants everyone to drive around electric cars. It's absolutely unreal. All right, folks, that's our show for today. Please tune in tomorrow for the Saturday live stream, 11 a.m. Central Time. But until then, please subscribe. And when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified. And we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified. And here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-Minute News Hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.